So in talking to several dog daycares, people always ask, should I use a collar or play naked? That's an interesting question. Everybody's a little different. Let's talk pros and cons. So to wear collars, to play naked, there are benefits and downfalls to both. One of the issues when you play naked is how to identify the 4 apricot colored doodles that are in the same playgroup, or the 4 black labs. Then that's where it gets complicated, right? How do you identify those dogs? So there are things called a breakaway collar. It has a standard buckle and then an extra piece. And what happens is when there's pressure, the collar pops apart. So in theory, if 2 dogs were playing together, one's mouth got hooked on the collar, he pulls back and the collar would break apart. PetSafe is one of the entities that sells those collars. I'm sure they're on Amazon or Chewy. So that's one way to identify if you play naked. Another way are paper collars that you could write the dog's name on it, or just say, you know, Fluffy is wearing the green paper collar. It's a paper collar just like a wristband when you go to a concert, only it's big enough to go around the dog's neck. And for those giant mastiffs, you just use 2 of them. So those are some pros to if you're playing naked, which then you don't have to worry about the 2 collar thing, and how to negate the negatives. Leaving collars on. Pro to that, easier to identify the dogs right away and you've got something to grab a hold of if needed. Con, dog's collar is not tight, it slips off their head, and then Bailey decides that Fluffy's collar was a chew toy before you can get to it or you even notice that it's off, and Fluffy's collar is now chewed up and now you have to replace it. And tell mom. And it's probably had it since they were a puppy and yada, yada, yada. So there's your biggest con, is the collar is going to get damaged. Now, if you have an instance where 2 dogs are playing and the mouth gets caught on the collar, you need to make sure that you have tools readily available to cut that collar. My vet always told me I can fix a puncture or a cut. I cannot fix a dead dog. So keep that in mind. Most people will have the seatbelt cutters available. My Pampered Chef scissors work really good for cutting through collars. But pros and cons, I can't swing you one way or the other. Just the conversation of collars or no collars comes up a lot, and you need to make the decision based on how you operate your facility, what safety protocols you have in mind for your facility. Having 2 dogs get their mouth stuck on a collar, it's not a question of will it happen, it's a question of when it will happen. So naked or collars, you get to choose.